And here we go. I'm here, Matt Kelly, again with Kyle Bernard, who happens to be a football coach, an assistant football coach at the Catholic University of America, which is actually an opponent for us. And humble brag, or not even a humble brag, just pointing it out there in facts. We have beaten them the past 2 years that he's been there, just saying. But he is the recruiting coordinator, and he also coaches the wide receivers and tight ends. So before I get started, any questions on this interview, tell me about the whole process of Kyle Bernard becoming a football coach.
Well, hey man, nice to see you again.
Yeah.
On record.
Yeah.
So I played here for 4 years. I fell in love with the place the first time I stepped on campus in 2008. I always knew I wanted to coach, but I always figured it would be like my kids, and then I'd go do another job and I'd come back and coach them at night. So when I graduated, I had an internship on Capitol Hill.
Ooh. Whoa, never mind. Keep going. I was going to pause and detail that a little bit, but keep going.
I had an internship on Capitol Hill in the Senate, and that was when the first shutdown was happening. Not this most recent one, so that was 2013.
14, something like
13,
that?
13, yeah. So I was up, when that was over, I was up to be hired as floor monitor for the Senate. So essentially I would watch the Senate proceedings all day, and I would type up like synopsis of what happened that day and then send it out to the whole party. But that didn't work out. They decided to go with some kid from Vanderbilt.
Okay.
But it kind of worked out for the better because I moved back home, back to Pennsylvania, and the head coach at my high school, who was not a guy I played for, he was a guy my brother played for. He's like, "Hey, do you want to coach?" I'm like, "No, sure. I'll do that while I look for a job in politics." And if you've ever been to Doylestown, Pennsylvania, there's not exactly a lot of politics there.
I wouldn't know, but I can't imagine just that there is.
Yeah. So then I got into it, and I was, spending most of my day doing football things and not applying necessarily for politics jobs. I was like, I like this. Like, this was the hole I felt that I didn't have football. So the year went by, so a year and a half, and I saw a job opening at Fairleigh Dickinson University in North Jersey. Now, that's in Madison, and it's a nice suburb of New York. My uncle actually lives there, which is kind of how it made the whole thing possible.
All right, interesting. I did not know that, actually. So.
Yeah. So we driven by it a bunch, and I had a friend that went here freshman year, and he transferred to FDU because it was closer to where he lived, where he lives. I'm like, hey, can you like give the head coach a call and see if he'll hire me? And he ended up, he did, and then that was kind of the end of that. And then 2 years there, and I joined you guys for 9 months.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
And then I came down here. I got the job as they had a guy leave right before the season started, and I don't think I've ever been so excited when Coach Gutt said he was going to hire me, because he had said when he got hired, I was in his office like the first week. I was like, I want to work here.
And well, weren't you working for us at that time?
No, I was working at FDU.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, whoa.
No, that was my fiance was living down here at the time.
I got you.
And so I just figured I'd pop in, say hi, introduce myself as an alumni. And then he was like, all right, he's like, you know what? We're getting you on staff. And he stuck to his word. The first time they had a real opening, I got the job.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about even younger days? Why football?
I actually had a bad start to football.
Oh boy.
We were living in New Jersey, and so I was in second grade, and they had football tryouts. But for whatever reason, the younger coaches couldn't show up, so they put the younger kids and the older kids all together, like the fifth and sixth graders with the second graders. I had a really bad time.
That's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, and so I didn't play football that year. And then the year after, we moved to Pennsylvania. And I tried out for football, and I had a really pleasant time, and I just kind of stuck. That was like 20 years ago at this point. So, I've been playing, been part of organized football for that long with the 1 year I wasn't being the year I had my internship.
Okay.
It
And
just
now
kind of stuck.
I am curious, as people don't know this, but I did start out my college career as a political science major, and quickly changed it. But so when you talk about the political realm there and working on the Senate floor, what was it like, even just as applying for political type jobs? I'm not gonna get too much into it, but just like, what would you even look for? Do you look for like state working stuff, like town count? Like, what do you even? What does that even
When I was in DC, it was a lot of jobs on the Hill, working for the staffs of congressmen and congresswomen. Um, the way it works, you kind of have to stay in your party, so that'll limit the jobs depending on who's in office. There's
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
the 536 congressmen, and sometimes there's less in your party and more in
More on
other
the
years.
other.
So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and then there's always K Street, where all the lobbyists are. That's more private. A lot of people will go work on the Hill, then go to K Street,
Okay.
to be work with the lobbyists, and then some of them are lucky enough to jump right into the executive branch, um, working for one of the departments, or sometimes even the White House.
Oh wow. Okay. And I'm just more
Yeah.
curious. I'm not going to get into all the details of that kind of stuff. I was just not something that I actually know someone who actually worked in that realm to
Yeah,
know.
it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. But the whole reason I came to Catholic was because, you know, there were I wanted to be a politics major, and there were
Yeah.
some other schools like, oh, we have access to DC.
Hmm.
Yeah, but this school's in DC.
Yeah. So it's a
So
very big difference when it comes to that. Yeah.
yeah, but then when I was home, it was more, because obviously every congressman has a office in their district.
Hmm.
So I was applying to those around me, and then the Pennsylvania State Legislature, who I did some temp work for, the woman who was the Pennsylvania State representative for my district, which was good. So, and
Okay.
that was someone I had done other internships for, which is why she gave me the temp work. She's like, I'll pay you out of my campaign fund. It's fine.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I was like,
That's cool. I
and it
don't
was it
know.
was really it was really fulfilling because I remember this one lady was having trouble getting hold of some support. I forget exactly what it was, but I spent a lot of time with her on the phone, and when we finally figured it out, it was really, fulfilling. But I'm done with that now.
Okay. All right.
Done with all that stuff now. So
Yeah. I just like to have positive thoughts of politics. That's all. So moving forward, so we stop with the political talk there. But what's it like? So this is the second interview in a row I've had someone who's coaching at the school they played at and went to. What's it like coaching at the Catholic University? No one can see my face there, but I am making a face when I emphasize the. Sorry.
I love it. When I told you, I said earlier, when I stepped on campus in 2008, when I came here as a student, not as a football player, as a student, I looked at the school, and I fell in love with it the second we got out of the car. I even, was it 2 years ago now, I was walking along, I had to go to admissions to pick up some travel booklets for our guys to give out to kids in school. And I'm walking, I'm like, yeah, this is really is like one of my favorite places to be. It's just on campus. Um, and we've talked about previously, some of the buildings don't match, but we're in the process of fixing all that, which is nice. There's a ton of history on the campus, which, I was a politics major. Of course, I like history, you
Mhm.
know. I actually almost was a history minor, but I didn't fill out the paperwork for it.
Ah,
And then I get to come, I live I think a bigger draw is when I was a student here, I knew I wanted to live in DC,
mhm,
the same as my fiance. We both know we wanted to stay and live in DC and make our lives here because we like what DC has to offer. And um, being able to coach at the university is fantastic. Our president, John Garvey, is really trying to make things really, of the top level. Having come from Boston College, uh, he wants to you know have our school as the only school in America with a Vatican charter. It'd be like really live up to the Catholic University name. It's part of why Pope Francis came here in 2015. So I looked at a picture of him over there.
Okay.
Looked at why the popes come here every time they visit the United States. We now walk over when our kids graduate. They walk over the seal of when Pope Francis gave his service to the masses on our campus, which was really cool, on the steps of the largest church in North America. Um, and
Okay.
there's not, yes, there's religion that ties into almost everything, but it's not shoved down anybody's throat.
Okay.
You know,
Because
it's there if
I
you
was
want.
gonna ask. Sorry, I was gonna not to cut you off, but I was gonna ask that as well because I know, like, I myself have gone to two different Catholic colleges when I was a student, and then I know my upbringing. My dad went to what I think of as the Catholic University, or as Notre Dame. So like I understand kind of the Catholic kind of college atmosphere. I didn't know if it was different being the Catholic university.
Right. It's there if you want it. And I think we require more theology classes than Notre Dame and Boston College do. I could be wrong about that. But for example, the one theology class I took after the theology 101, and what I tell recruits is by no means it's not Catholicism 101. It's theology is the study of God, not Catholicism. So
I gotcha.
the one class I took was war ethics in film. So
Okay.
we watched like Saving Private Ryan, All Quiet on the Western Front, um, Hotel Rwanda, Jarhead. Like it was like some moral discussions. It wasn't necessarily this is right or wrong because of what the church says and stuff like that. So
I
it
gotcha.
was it
More of
was
like
it was
cultural norms and what's right within that
right.
sort of setting.
Yeah, it was more it was different. It was not what I was expecting because when I think I was a public school kid in high school, and I think when my friends thought here I'm taking theology, they think, oh, it's like CCD or Sunday
Right.
school.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. It's a learning environment. I know, and Coach Catilius, our head coach, who's also a Catholic alum, was telling a recruit we saw yesterday.
Well,
He
slow
took
down for a second. Just make sure you're keeping it not as a recruiting spiel here.
No, it's not. It's not. But he said he took a theology class that the guy who translated it from the Greek was teaching,
Okay.
which was cool. So
Okay.
it's not like a CCD. Everything's down your throat all the time. There's a crucifix in every classroom, but
Okay. All right.
it's the guy who's the boss.
I gotcha. All right. And then I'm sorry. I think we went down a little path there, but is there more you wanted to say about being able to work at the school you went to?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, you're
Um,
good. I just went off topic because you were talking about that part of it.
well, like we said, the way when you and I
Spiral a little
talk, we
bit. Yeah.
spiral anyways. Um, No, it's good because I have a good relationship with a lot of the people on campus, a lot of the educational educational arm. People over in admissions are super nice and helpful with us. Um, I feel I'm more willing to do more, I guess.
Okay.
Um,
Would you
I,
say so? Now I'm kind of not necessarily feeding words to you or spiking you down a certain path, but like, would you say there's more of like a connection to campus and want to do more to help out in the community and whatnot?
right. I think you're right in saying that. I now have a vested interest in seeing this university grow and do well because my degree has the same name on it.
Mhm.
You know, so when I see stuff, I'm really proud to talk about the improvements we're making and the direction of our football program and the athletic department stuff like that.
I gotcha. And this is something I guess with that I regret asking I guess my last guest there Sam, but what do you feel? Don't give me a recruiting spiel because I'll cut it out. But what would you say it's like when you're kind of going through campus or talking about the dorms or talking about all the different things you talk to with potential student athletes? Is that you can talk about it from firsthand experience? Is that different knowing that you've, let's say, recruited for us too before? Is it a different experience being able to say, like, I know for a fact this is what the food's like or all those type of things?
Yeah, I feels like when you throw personal anecdotes into like the campus tour, talking about buildings and stuff, I think it resonates more with the recruits.
Mhm.
and visitors on campus. Yeah, there's some the campus has a lot of history, and I took an archaeology class, so I know even more random
Okay.
tidbits.
Is that
So
Indiana
I
Jones,
like
but for the school?
yes, basically.
Okay.
There's some tunnels I know about, um, but there's a tunnel on FDU's campus too. I can tell you about that after.
Although
But
talking about like history with that, so it's a little link for you. If I'm not mistaken, isn't FDU with like mansions from like the Vanderbilt family?
yes, they are. Um, we're going some pretty historic campuses I've worked
Yeah,
on.
guess so.
Um, yeah, it seems the especially the parents really seem to like personal anecdotes of what's happened, like what you experienced on campus.
Mhm. 'Cause
To answer your
I
question.
okay, because I can say for like my personal experiences, I've never worked. Well, I have worked the very first year I was a coach at the school I went to, but like other than that, when I've actually known what I'm doing recruiting wise, I wasn't working at a school I went to. So like I give anecdotes from what the student athletes have told me from their experience, but not my own. So I just didn't know if that was a different kind of feel as you're explaining things in the process.
Yeah, I think it was good. I didn't stay right away. I didn't start coaching here.
Mhm.
Um, Having to, recruiting at FDU, which was a school I was somewhat familiar with just from my uncle living there, and then going up there with you guys. Um, I think I learned how to do it without this tool of these personal anecdotes, and then having that as a tool in your toolbox it makes it better. I think
Cool. And then we'll
if that makes sense.
no, I get what you're saying with it. And then I'll go into kind of another kind of question that's a follow up and a connection, I guess. What's it like being at the school you played at, and then the head coach or the person you're working for is also an alum, but he's also wasn't there when you were there. He was at another place and became the head coach later on. So what's it like with that whole process?
I well, kind of like what I was saying. I think it was good because by the time I came back, all of the kids that I played with were gone,
Okay,
and I think that's a little bit. But the kids that were seniors had like we knew similar people, so I think that's better than directly trying to coach the guys you played with.
I got you. Or they might
Um,
have Coach Bernard did this when he was like certain stories, maybe like.
right? Yeah.
Hopefully you don't have any of those, but you never know.
No. 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 They're all our. We have great kids, and I think I think especially as an alumni coach, you see um, traits of your teammates and yourself in some of the kids, for both the kids that here and prospective student athletes when you're recruiting them. But with working for Coach Catilius, I think it's great that um, we have an alumni head coach now. Um, as I said, we had a lot of history of um, we were a Division I school before World War II. Program shut down, and we've been slowly building it back, I guess, since
Okay.
about 1975. Um, we had some really good years in the 90s and really good years in the middle 2000s. Um, and the fact that Coach Catilius is a head coach, both him and I have again it's more of even more of a vested interest in making sure this program returns to um, a place of national renown,
Okay.
for lack of a better term.
I got you.
um, as yeah, I feel I'm slowly. At points I'm about to slip into a recruiting speech, and I have to stop
Yeah, I can tell you, even if you do, I'm just gonna cut it out. So it's all right.
myself.
I'm not allowing that to happen as a competitor. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, I don't know if people know me as they listen to this, but I'm not someone who like I'm not a negative recruiter or anything like that either. And even like I don't care that we're oppositions. I only dislike you during those 3 hours where hopefully we're kicking your butt. But
Right.
otherwise,
No, and I completely agree with that. I don't see any reason why, you know, um, any of the other coaches in the NUMAC, like we can't be friends. I feel like, especially at recruiting events, like
yeah,
we all talk to each other, so
right.
we're pretty friendly with each other um, when we're not playing.
So, well, that kind of leads me to my next question. Then, do you miss working for me? Not that I treat it like I'm I guess the boss talk about things, but you miss working
I
around.
mean, you and I talk. You and I talk most of the week, anyways. So I don't know exactly how it would be all that different, except we were talking about scheme and
I
not
gotcha.
the new Apple operating
Product.
system.
Yeah, that is true. Now I don't think we've talked football since you left. To be honest with you, that much.
I think it was like once or twice.
Yeah, and it's
Maybe that was
never
it.
around like ever we've. It's usually after we've played to see like what we each thought of some of the stuff that we did would be anything.
Yeah, and I think it's good that we can do that. Even in general terms, like we're not trying to screw anybody over. We're just
Yeah.
you know
Then this
we're
leads
just
me.
trying to help you.
Genuinely curious, as I think we have a lot of fun with our offense. What is it like being on the opposing sideline, which I'm sure you guys are doing corrections and all that kind of stuff and whatever it may be in your V or whatnot on the sideline. But what's it like when you can like see what plays are coming and maybe you don't know remember like my play calling and I change obviously year to year, but like it's like, oh no, that's a certain play or something like that and it might hit big or whatever it may be. What's it like?
Well, the first year when you ran taser pass for like a 95-yard touchdown on the first play, I went, yeah,
Um, it
oh
was
crap,
actually a 99-yard touchdown, just to make sure you know that. But
whatever.
longest play in
I,
school history, just saying.
I mean,
On television too, regional television. But keep going.
when I see Jewel, when I see Jewel shuffling with, I think it was Billy Mitchell,
Huh.
doing the speed sweep, and then I see Nick Rossi doing his 2 steps in and run on. Ah, crap! And
Yeah,
here comes friggin' taser
yeah,
pass. Like I guess I see stuff. Yeah, I'm not. You don't signal, so there's
right.
nothing to steal. But I recognize it after you snap the ball, and then my mind, I go, oh crap.
Yeah, it's like hopefully like the defense practiced it all week or whatever it may be.
Yes, hopefully they really practiced.
Yeah. Or even
Uh,
like I mean, you remember we're even wackier now. Like we'd come out with some wacky formations. What's it like sometimes when maybe you don't even see it during the game because you guys are doing whatever, but you see it after? What's it like to be like, what the heck was he doing?
yeah, you're definitely creative. um, it's looking. I mean, I don't usually watch the defensive stuff after the game's over. So
I gotcha. I'm just, and this isn't like trying to like pump me up. I do. I mean, I don't mind hearing the good things, but like just more curious because I've never been on the other side like that. Every time I've been at a place, it's been a different level, so I don't see the other side like afterwards or whatever. But
yeah, and I guess if I was coaching defense, it would be more direct. But the fact that
yeah,
I coach offense and I don't have to deal with you as much. I have to
right,
deal with the defensive guys.
yeah. And I'm not gonna talk smack. I'm not gonna try to do that. But I do. We did have a bye week going into you guys last year, so we did some more stuff as we had a little bit longer to prepare.
And didn't you have the week off from classes?
So the way our schedule usually works is the bye week is our exam week, and then there's the week off
Oh,
after.
right.
So like the
It's the
week
week
leading
off. But
up to league leading
yeah,
up to, yeah, we didn't have classes that week too. So
yeah,
there's a lot less focus away from football at that time too for our guys
yeah.
or our
And I'm
team.
not gonna and your guys' schoolwork is hard enough. So
Yeah,
I'm not gonna.
it's pretty tough. Not gonna lie. I know I wouldn't be able to get into the school I work at. I can tell you that when I was in high school. But
No, no. I did take pre-calc though as a junior. So
oh,
uh,
okay, I took pre-calculus, but not until a senior. But I got
math
through.
wasn't my thing, as it shows with my politics, being a
Yeah.
politics major.
Well, I mean, that's what I started out as too. So, and then I
Yeah.
ended up with sports management. But, yeah. So then I guess the one of the main things I keep asking everybody is what during I don't like to call it quarantine time because unless you had something you weren't technically in quarantine, you were just at home. So during the pandemic time, what is something interesting new that you've been up to?
Well, as you know, I've really gotten really into watching Formula One.
Yeah, you have something about that. I have
um,
not gotten into it, even though you've been trying to get me to.
I've been trying so hard, and you watched the race at Monza, and I
So
was
I'm
grateful.
not gonna lie, I watched like until they had that caution in the beginning, and that was about it. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, the race the last weekend stopped twice, so
Okay,
that was another one in Italy. That we bought a condo, bought a
congratulations on
dog,
that.
got,
Heck yeah,
adopted a dog.
yeah.
You've
Which if
seen
I ever
you've
go down to DC, I'm stealing and taking with me. Just an FYI.
Yeah, thanks. Where's Loki? Oh, she's missing. Matt Tucker.
Yeah.
That and just trying to figure out how to stay in shape. Luckily with the dog, it's forced us to walk a lot.
Mhm.
So yesterday was a little shorter because we ended up taking the dog to the dog park for the first time.
Okay. How
She's
was that?
um so we tried it 2 days ago, and she was
Yeah.
instantly attacked by another dog.
Oh, geez.
Um, last night was pretty chill. The dogs that were there were nice,
Mhm.
and I think there was some other people there that recognized this might be our first time letting
Yeah.
her loose in the dog park. So they're like, you don't need to like, no, they're not fighting. They're just playing. Watch their body language. Look at the tails.
Yeah. Is
If
the
they
hair straight up or whatever?
Yeah, stuff like that. And if they're playing, if they're still wagging their tails and there's some growling, it's fine.
Because
They're
that's
good.
even is that her first time like interacting with other dogs too, or no?
She's interacted with the people that live directly behind us,
Okay.
across the alley, and my family's dog, because we knew like our family's dog had been fully vaccinated,
Yep.
so she wasn't in any danger of
Of
getting
getting anything.
getting anything. So we brought her up to my mom's house in Pennsylvania, and she ran around with our 7-year-old dog. Actually, it's her birthday today, so
Oh, happy birthday.
she's 8 today.
Oh, wow. What kind of
Um,
dog is that?
it's a boxer.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Oh, and
we
what would you say Loki is?
a mutt.
Okay.
But
Okay.
no, we got her DNA test, and it was 12.5% of 4 different breeds, including black lab, which is what we were told she was,
Yeah.
and
I
then
mean, from the
50%.
pictures I've seen on social media, that's what I would say she is.
Yeah, and then 50% of other.
Oh,
So,
and not
so I
defined,
think
just other?
it was like um, the other comprised of wild breeds, which was coyote and wolf, which every dog is from that.
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah. Asian breeds, which was like Chow Chow and some other dogs that I guess are descendant from Asia. Oh, Husky falls under that, obviously,
Okay.
because Siberia is
Yeah.
in Asia. And like two other general breed families, I guess.
Okay.
So we didn't. The vet just did it, and they're like, "Oh, we did a DNA test for your dog." Like, oh, awesome.
Oh,
What
now
is it? And
where'd you Oh, keep going.
we're like, well, oh, cool. What is she? She's like, she's all these things. Oh, okay.
Great.
Yes, great. Thank you.
Where did you get her from? Did you adopt her? Did you get her from a breeder?
Yeah, we got her from a local rescue
Oh, okay.
group that specifically rescues dogs from the Rio Grande Valley
Okay.
down in Texas. So I think a lot of these places will rescue dogs from certain areas like all
Mhm.
the time. I think another one we had applied for rescues dogs only from Missouri. This one
Okay.
happens to be um, only from Texas, and they were when we adopted Loki. They were still trying to get the mother um, from the kill shelter that she was at,
Yeah.
and apparently she was being kept chained up outside in South Texas in the summer.
That's probably not good
So
for
no,
anybody. Never mind a mother, a dog mother at that point. Oof.
yeah, so that was so she had a rough start to her life, but when she was just a little baby.
Yeah. So
She's still a
now,
baby. She's only 4 months old, but
okay.
now she's living the good life as a city pup.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess the DNA test doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not 100% Irish like we thought. It was kind of funny. My uncle did my grandparents had passed away on my dad's side, but my uncle did one of those was it ancestry.com or one of those kind of send in whatever. And we did find
Yep.
out that we weren't on that side. I thought on that side we were 100% Irish, but we found out we're not. So it's kind of funny to think about. Now we're still a huge percentage, but not 100
Yeah,
like we were thought.
yeah. My grandmother's family did a better job at keeping track of like where people were from and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and my paternal grandfather was working on really tracing back how far we've gone. But my dad's family has been here for so many generations; it's almost impossible. Whereas my grandma's family, my grandmother's mother was born in Italy, um,
Okay.
by accident. But World War One, she was her mother. So my grandma's grandmother went back to Italy to visit some family, and World War One broke out. They assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and they got
Got it.
stuck there
Okay.
for a little while.
Okay.
Enough that my great grandmother was born there.
Got it. Okay.
So, but
I got you. Yeah, with like, well, so with my family on that side, we assumed it would be pretty easy because you trace it back. It's only like 2 or 3 generations from my grandparents that both came over from Ireland. So it wasn't like it was
yeah,
that far over. So we just assumed it was all Irish heritage. But they were one from Southern, one from Northern Ireland. So it was kind of like the just Ireland, not Northern Ireland, like other
oh,
country, but like
not
North.
the UK,
No, like the north side of Ireland.
right?
So that might have been the Southern Ireland people are more like gypsy-ish. So that might have been some intermingling there, is what we assume. But
Yeah, yeah. You know, no internet history.
yeah,
All these immigrants coming through Ellis Island from Europe kept in a
right,
book somewhere.
exactly.
Who knows where that book is?
Yeah,
Um, and people that just don't think cared unless you were royal. So
right. It didn't like matter per se at that time, like exactly where it came from. It's more now. It's just more interesting. You want to know where you came from and what and all those
yeah,
things.
and we did genealogy projects. I don't know if you did up in where you were when we were in elementary school. We are just learning about genealogy and stuff.
Hmm.
But every time me or my brother and my sister did one of those projects, my dad's mom would tell us something new. So she
Something
would
different
be
each
something
time.
different. No, it's like, oh, in addition to what I told your brother, we're also this. Because it was so when I did it, we thought for the longest time I was on my dad's side, we were French and Dutch.
Mhm.
Bernard is a relatively common French name.
Okay.
But then she told us, oh, we're also English. Okay.
Okay.
My brother did it 3 years later. Oh, we're also Scottish.
Okay.
Okay. My sister did it. Oh, it's like also my father might have been Jewish.
Okay. Well, that's technically a religion, but it doesn't necessarily mean where he comes from. But okay.
Right. But
Mhm.
it's it's like every time we were something new. So the other problem is my mom's family's name is Esposito.
Okay.
So while Esposito is a common name from the area of Naples we're from,
Yeah.
it is also an orphan name
Oh,
that was given to people as they came through Ellis Island.
I got you. Your
So
history major is showing, but
oh no, but so it could be our name.
yeah,
It would be tricky to go to Naples and like truly find our relatives, I guess, at this
yeah,
point. Because if it is our name, that's good. If it's not, we're never gonna find anybody.
I got you. Okay. I mean, for me, I mean, Kelly is a pretty common name. I just know at one point it actually had the extra E in it, the EY, even though I make fun
Mm-hmm.
of or we go back and forth on another member of a coach in our department has Kelly with the E, and we always joke that we're each an E from greatness, whether it's him or me. But and then initially, even when at some point when my grandfather's family came over, it was the O Kelly, like a O apostrophe.
Yeah, it's like
That got cut
you're
through.
like the Smiths of Ireland.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And even Matthew Kelly itself is not a
Yeah,
uncommon
there's
name.
no hope of finding any ancestors
Yeah.
or any relatives in Ireland.
Heck, when I went to college in my incoming freshman class, there was another Matt Kelly. We just
Yeah.
had a different middle initial. And that was confusing. Like when I showed up, as a football player, normally you're in there early for like preseason camp, show up in the dorm.
Hmm.
And then it gets to like freshman move-in day. I come back from like a morning practice because we had like all freshman orientation throughout the day. And I go back to like my dorm and there's like some mom yelling at me because like I brought a fridge, but they communicated to not bring a fridge. And I'm like, what? Like I'm
What are
still
you
like
talking
sweating, like
about?
just showered or whatever from the locker room and back. I'm like, what? And she's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like remember we had talked like not bring a fridge. I'm like, I'm sorry. I was like, I apologize for like being like all over the place. Like I don't know what's going on right now. I was like, I'm not sure. I didn't talk to anybody about that. And then she's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, and she was just more frantic. She was trying to move stuff in and whatever. And she's like, so what's your name? And I'm like, I'm Matt. And she's like, "Oh, we don't remember a Matt being. Are you sure you're in the right room?" I was like, "I've been in here for 2 weeks." Like, I was like, maybe I am wrong, but like I've been in here for 2 weeks. And then she's like, "Oh, well, here's my son. He's coming back from moving something or grabbing something from like the car or whatever." And he's like, Have you talked to Matt before?" And he's like, "No, I haven't talked to Matt." And then she's like, "My son's Matt." And I'm like, "Wait a second, what?" And then like I was like, "I'm not living with a Matt." And then like we went back and forth, and then we found out we're the same name. And then they had put me in the wrong room to start, so I had to move all of my stuff.
Oh,
That
that's
was
interesting.
Yeah, that was fun. After practice, after 2 weeks of training camp, when I was not, I wouldn't say I was the most unsore, I guess, as
That
possible, moving
was
all my stuff by myself. Well, people helped, but like I
yeah.
didn't have my parents there helping bringing everything in too.
To circle all the way back to the original talking about coaching at your alma mater.
Yeah.
I got the job right before camp started, right? And so I didn't have a place to live. So I lived in the dorm I lived in freshman year, not the same room, but the same building, which was surreal to go
Okay.
back and live in the same room after, you know, from 8 years prior in the same, it was exactly the same. They redid the bathrooms, which was really nice. And I
Yeah.
walked in because Coach Cotillius lived in that building as well.
Oh wow.
Um,
So
and
it's not a new
so
dorm.
no, it's not a new dorm.
No offense
It's
to him
been
or
it's
you,
been
but
renovated. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, how about this? We had the same professor.
Oh, so
Uh,
he's a young guy.
yeah, that guy.
Or
He's
a
now
young woman. I shouldn't say guy, but
no, it was a guy.
assume when you
It was nuclear strategy was the
okay.
class. And that guy is now a professor emeritus.
Okay, what does
So
that mean?
I think it means you don't really teach anymore. I think that's what that means.
Okay.
It was a very interesting class. We
I
watched
bet
a
it was.
lot of Cold War documentaries.
I'm sure.
Um, yeah, there was some maps of like if a nuclear weapon hit this city, what the damage range would be.
That's
Um, it's not the class for everybody, but
no, I wouldn't think so.
being an
Getting off topic, what about shows or anything you started watching pandemic wise, besides Formula One racing?
well, that's what got me into Formula One racing was the Formula One Drive to Survive on Netflix. I also watched the Umbrella Academy, which we've talked
Oh, okay.
about.
I'm a big fan of that one. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
I've
good.
started watching the on Amazon Prime, The Boys. So
I
different, but
watched,
similar to like
yeah,
superheroes, not just being the picturesque superheroes we think of.
yeah. Those two series are they're definitely different. I only watched uh, I watched all of season one of The Boys, but I've only watched episode one of season two of The Boys. But it's really good.
Yeah.
It's not for kids, so
No, no, definitely
no,
not.
don't let your kids watch that one,
No.
listeners.
Yeah.
Um, um, that and the one show. I watched like 30 seasons of The Amazing Race because that's all on Amazon Prime.
There's
Either
30 seasons of that.
um, there's 31 seasons on Amazon Prime.
Okay, so
I
there's one you
watched
just
one.
haven't watched.
I watched 1 through 29. Well, no, the problem is seasons 30 and 31 are not included in Prime.
Got it.
So
Okay.
those are the only two I haven't watched. But it's coming back in October, so
Okay. There you
new
go.
seasons. And yeah, and then there's one show that me and my fiance, it's like the only show we watch together, which is
Okay.
Below Deck on Bravo.
Okay. So
I'll
that's the
admit it.
one where it's like the stuff on the boat, right? Like there, it's like the why can't reality TV, but it's like the people who work in the boat.
Yeah, it's
Cruise.
reality TV where people actually do stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, like they're actually working for the money they earn.
I got you. 'Cause it's
Um,
like the people working on the cruise ship, right? Am I
yeah,
wrong with that?
yeah,
Okay.
they're charter yachts or super yachts. So
Super yachts. Oh boy.
it's a captain, first mate, engineer, and 4 deckhands, and then
Okay.
3 stewardesses.
Okay.
So there's like made up drama and stuff, but like it's
What?
actually like if they crash the boat, they like actually crash the boat, and like they have to deal with like actual stuff.
Has that
Like if
happened
it's
on the show?
no, but like they've come close to where like the anchor, it's been really windy in a certain area, and the anchor is being dragged along the ocean floor.
Oh, because I
Um,
would assume they would like drop anchor in like cities and whatnot and have people like be able to do some stuff.
right. Yeah. That's like when if they need to, if the weather's bad, they stay in
Right.
port. Yeah. But there's three. So there's three versions of that show: one in the Mediterranean, one in the Caribbean, and one on a sailing yacht
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
in Greece. Yeah.
Ooh, I actually, so I'm not a big travel person, but if we're ever able to travel again, Greece is like the number one spot I actually want to go to.
That's where we're planning to go for our honeymoon. Is going to
Where?
Greece.
Now I'm super curious. Where?
Um,
What part?
so um, my aunt is Greek. She was born in Greece. Um, she moved here when she was 13. That's where she met my mom. Um, Stayed here for a little while, moved back to Greece, came back to the United States, married my uncle.
Okay.
So she has like her parents still live in Greece,
Mhm.
and all my cousins like spend the whole summer in Greece. So they have like a vacation house in Sifinos,
Okay.
which is another
What?
island.
Yeah.
It's one of the islands. I couldn't tell you where it is. It's
Okay.
one of those islands. Um, we do want to go
Your
to
history
Athens.
major isn't showing anymore. Or
I,
that would be geography, but whatever. Keep going.
yeah. Well, listen, when I was bored, I would look at the map, so I should know. I mean, there's just so many islands in the chains in the island, the archipelago, the Greek archipelago.
Yeah.
There's no chance of
What's a archipelago? What is that?
it's a chains of islands.
I gotcha. Do you know what a peninsula is? Out of curiosity.
A peninsula is a piece of land surrounded in water by three sides.
Okay, just curious. If there's someone else.
Italy,
Yeah,
peninsula.
that's a shot at someone
Greece,
who doesn't know. But if you know, you know. I guess it's
Greek archipelago.
yeah. No, I
Italy.
know that. I know what they are. I'm
I
just
know.
there's someone who
Um,
may or may not be listening that it's a shot at.
yeah,
That's all.
Athens and Sparta, like those ones everybody knows about,
Yeah,
are mainland Greece.
correct.
Sifnos is an island.
Which would be along the line with like Crete, right? Would that be?
Yes. Is Crete part of Greece? I don't know. I forget.
I thought,
What's that other island? Um, Starts with a T. Anyways, but you know they all live there. Um, my aunt's daughter is teaching there, teaching English in Greece.
mm,
Um, so we're hoping we can spend a little bit of time with them. You know, really see Greece as the Greeks do, I guess.
okay. Because
Which will be fun.
the one I always hear about is Mykonos.
That's one. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
Mykonos. We'd like to go to Mykonos, and maybe Santorini, which
Okay.
is if it's that's the island with all the white. Every building's white.
Yeah. So a quick Google search here,
No.
and I was checking to make sure if I was right. I was fact checking myself with Crete, but Santorini was the first one that pops up when you just say Greek islands.
Yeah. Um, the Santorini is I think pretty interesting because you have to go there by boat,
Oh,
and you either walk up the mountain, you take a gondola, which I don't want to do,
why
or
not?
I don't like heights,
Okay. There's
or you take donkeys.
yeah. So that's what. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to take donkeys up the hill because it's on. I think the island of Santorini is basically a giant cliff.
If I'm not mistaken, it's all like cliffs and like mountains on the edge, and that's where you take like the donkeys almost like down. And I would
Yeah,
be petrified, but I think it's the thing to do.
yeah, yeah. I think it is the thing to do. On that below deck show, actually, they fired the one guy, and they were in Santorini when they fired him, and they told him the gondolas were broken, and he had to take the donkeys up to the top of the mountain.
Oh
But
boy,
the gondolas were not broken.
they were just
They
adding
just
drama.
wanted yeah, basically,
That's not
you
nice.
know,
Well, that's why it's on reality TV, but that's not
yeah,
nice.
I guess so. Um, but yeah, that was so Greece should be fun if the pandemic goes away.
Yeah. What's that been like with I mean, I think everybody I've interviewed has a significant other and then fiance or married by now with Scott being the first one a while ago. But like how's that been with navigating through the current waters of pandemic world?
Um, Luckily for us, we got a lot of stuff done before the pandemic hit. So we booked the venue, church, uh, photographer, wedding, flowers. Um, we just booked the videographer. So a lot of stuff band was booked already.
So it's a live band
So
and a DJ? That's pretty cool.
it's a live band, yes. I think they're called Ready in 10.
Do they
Yeah,
play
but
strictly 80s Joel or
no, they might be playing a bunch of 90s alternative, which is
Okay.
which will be fun.
Okay.
So I'm hoping we'll start out hot with Mr. Brightside, and then
Yeah.
we'll just kick the whole thing off.
I
It'll be
gotcha.
fun.
Okay.
Because but my brother actually got married in August, so
Mhm.
that was they had a harder time than we did.
And
Um,
how was that process for them, and like what were they able to do for like the wedding ceremony?
um, so they had to switch churches
Okay.
because Pennsylvania opened up enough that you could have religious services
Mhm.
inside, but it could only be at a certain capacity. They were gonna get married at my sister-in-law's church,
Okay.
um, but they had to switch to our church because it's a lot bigger.
Oh, so it could fit
Um,
more of a
so they could
capacity with a shorter
they
percentage
yeah,
or whatever. Okay.
yeah, and then the reception they had was owned by my sister-in-law's uncle,
Okay.
which was pretty good. But so it was basically the area they were going to have cocktail hour at. The way it was in New Jersey was the way they could do this, because New Jersey at the time is more open than Pennsylvania was.
Right.
Um, it was outside. Um, three of the four walls were open, so it
Okay.
classified as outside,
Outside. Yeah.
which was really nice. And it was right on the Delaware River. Super nice. I crushed my best man speech.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. I was not expecting a big brag like that. All right.
um, I did a fake blessing, which I thought was funny. Um,
Okay.
because
Is that something you're
be,
allowed to do?
well, I no, well,
Frowned
no,
upon?
I didn't do a fake blessing. I faked out that I was gonna do a blessing.
Got it. Okay.
Because I said to everybody, well, since I do technically work for the Catholic Church, and Pope Francis, if you run it up the chain far enough, is technically my boss.
Okay.
Um, Technically, I might be lying,
I
but
feel like that's a little bit of a stretch, but all right.
it's a fun joke whenever Coach Gut buys something with our P card.
Yeah.
He goes, "This one's on Pope Francis," and he slides it.
Okay.
That's a fun joke.
You'll have to let me know if I have
Um,
to cut that out later, but okay.
I don't, maybe not. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Um, but yeah. So I was getting towards the end of my speech. So, well, since I technically work for the church and Pope Francis is technically my boss, everybody would please. I feel like I could give a blessing. So everybody would please bow their heads. And I stopped and I paused, and everybody actually bowed their heads. There was 100 people there. I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know how to do that. And they all started laughing
Okay,
hysterically.
that's actually pretty funny. All right.
Yeah. Um,
More
I sent you
humorous
my
than I would.
I
More
sent you
humorous
my
than
speech. You knew I did that.
I didn't realize it was like that, though. To be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
And I
yeah.
was trying to give you credit. I didn't want to put out here that I may or may not have looked it over. That's all.
That's whatever. That's fine.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. But no, it was really good. Everybody had a good time. One of the better weddings I've ever been to, and it was in the middle of a pandemic. So
Right. It's good that you can have a
um,
little bit of normalcy, but still obviously stay safe and distance and whatnot.
yeah, I think that was part of the reason it was so good. Was I think everybody felt a little bit like things were getting back to normal.
Mhm.
You know, we don't live in we're not, it wasn't in like a heavily populated area, so you know, everybody could, let loose a little bit,
I
which
gotcha.
was good.
While still staying safe
Yes,
and
and
wearing masks.
nobody got sick as a result,
Good.
which was good. I know that was a big worry. Like after the 2 weeks passed, we're all like, everybody like exhaled a little bit.
Yeah, everyone's probably making sure like there's no symptoms. Am I getting like different things
Yeah,
every day? But makes sense.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, it was good. Um, Hopefully we'll just continue to get back to normal here a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep going a little bit. Well, I'm not exactly. I didn't put the timer on for right now, but I know we've been going a little bit here, so I'll get to the usually the thing I end on. But do you have a question to try to put me on the spot?
Yeah. So
Oh boy.
if we play in the spring,
Oh geez.
what plays you gonna call against us?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. Oh boy. Okay, good question. And to be honest with you, no idea.
I,
You know enough in the process. Here's everybody. The defenses that have played against us or will play against us. Shocking, will run power. But other than that,
yeah, I know you're gonna run power, so you don't have to tell me that one.
so I'll tell you that. But no, you know enough about our process. We don't know for sure what we're gonna run until we know what we did well the weeks leading up to it, and then what we want to attack against the defense we're gonna see. So I can't
Yeah.
even answer that if you caught me off guard and I was actually gonna give you answers.
That's like the time when you walked into the office and said, "I got a question for you," and I said, "Oh yeah, I'll call plays against Santa Maria."
Yeah, not no, no, no.
Here's a real question: how are you? What's your mindset changing from having one of the best running backs and a lot of really good skill, a lot really good offense to having to lose all those guys?
To be honest with you, I think of it more as wouldn't say fun because it was obviously super fun what we had with that group, and they had been all whether they were playing or starting or whatnot since they were freshmen. So it was fun to kind of
Hmm.
work with them all the way through. But now it's kind of it's exciting to see the guys who have been behind them and might have deserved to play, but just no offense to them, we wouldn't want to take any of them off the field and to do all those things to see them grow and now let them get a chance to be in the limelight. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be exciting to see that, and then a lot of them haven't played, so it's going to be a lot of competition too to see who will, which I think
Hmm.
is awesome. And for you trying to quiz me there on what we're going to call it, it could be. I mean, we could be different each week because of who deserves to play that week, which I think could be awesome and frightening on the other side of it too if you're a defensive coach. But I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
get.
kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess I knew some of those guys because I was there when they were getting recruited,
Hmm.
but I never got to coach them.
And
Some of those
then
guys that will be
yeah,
playing a lot more now.
and for me too, like it was great to have that group, but I took over offensively their sophomore year, so I hadn't had them like I didn't. Not that it's no, actually I take that back. It's completely different now than it even was when they were sophomores. But like
Hmm.
I didn't get a chance to kind of instill the whole offensive culture and like exactly what we're doing. And the kids now, whether it's different or can they perform as well or whatnot, it's different. But like they know our offense better at this point of their careers than the other guys did, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I know we had a little bit of that when I was at FDU my second year. Because my first year we had Malik Presley that had 17 touchdowns as a sophomore. He
Yeah.
ended up transferring to Mount Union, and our game plans went from, oh, we're just gonna throw the ball to Malik this week,
Yeah.
okay, to we gotta figure out more creative ways to get different guys the ball, not just throw free access to Malik.
Right. And then I mean, if you look at all of our stuff from this past season too, we had I mean, Sean McGowan will go down as the best probably running back ever to play at WPI, but we did have a lot of other players too. I mean, even in
Yeah.
the backfield, we had Connor Fields who ended up setting the single season record for most touchdowns in a season. We
Mhm.
had Zach Uglovich who also had he didn't get quite to over 500, but over 400 yards rushing too. We had a quarterback who was a true dual threat. I think against you guys, he ended up throwing for 2 or 3 touchdowns and running for one all in the first half. If I'm not
All
mistaken.
right. All right. No need to show off. No
And
need to
then
show off.
the receivers we had 2 guys over 40 catches, 2 guys over 5 touchdowns. We had 4 guys total over 20 catches, 6 that had a touchdown. Like it's just a lot of guys that deserve kind of the recognition, which is awesome, and that's why we're able to have so much fun. And to be honest, we didn't have to do as much. It was just more okay. Whoever's open on this play, just give it to them.
Yeah, and they're good. They're good kids too. I know after the game last October, when
Yeah, it
you
was
guys were
October.
here, when you guys were here, they all came up to me and said, "Hey, coach, how you doing?" and stuff like that. So
I think the bigger thing was to see what happens is that offensive line, except for one guy, was all 2-year starters together. So it's going
yeah.
to be curious. I know you're asked about the skill guys, but it's going to be curious who fills in all those slots and how they all work
Hmm.
together because it's a cohesive unit when they're out there too. And I mean, it's exciting as a coach to see. Not necessarily, it's not exciting when you have familiar faces too, but to see all new faces that are going to get to earn playing time,
Yeah.
you kind of feel for them when you get that excitement level when they make a play or get a chance to make a play. Which who knows whenever that happens, but
Hmm.
spring or next fall or whenever, it'll
Right.
be it'll be exciting. So no long drawn out answer, but there's my answer.
No, that's fine. Longer answers. That's good.
Um, as long as I didn't tell you any scheme, we're good. But it was great to sit down with you, even if I want to yell at the backdrop there, but that's fine. But it was good
I
to.
gotta stay on brand,
Yeah,
I gotta stay
true,
on brand.
true, true. With the pullover there too, and whatnot. But another Under Armour school, we're Under Armour school too, so I
I'm a
know.
big brand guy, so
Yeah. But it was great to sit down, catch up on a official basis, and hear the great things for you guys. And as long as we beat you on Saturdays or whenever we get to play, great to hear the good things for Catholic too.
yeah, you too. Maybe there'll be a Friday night game this year.
I don't
Who
know
knows?
if that'll
Or in the
happen with the
spring. Who
distance
knows?
between schools, but we could talk
I know
about
that is one of the unfortunate things about us being all the way down here. We used to when I was a player here, we played a lot of our home games on Friday nights.
Oh,
And
okay,
it's
because it's
it's
not as
it's
much travel from the opposition coming
yeah,
down
because we
here.
used to play
Okay.
in the ODAC, and it was but yeah, it would be fun though.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it
Yeah.
would, especially in the Woo. Can't beat the Woo on a Friday night.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You ever been in DC at nighttime?
No. Actually, I take that back. Yeah, I have.
No, it's DC's great. That's why I live here.
True, 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 true. Well, again, thanks again, and continue to stay safe, wear your masks, and keep everybody safe on
Oh, I
campus.
got it. I always got it.
There you go. All right, thanks.
No problem.